next one is.
Lisa Gathright.
Okay.
Should be out in the hallway. Lisa Gathright.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this class will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Just make sure you're talking to the microphone.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning. Sorry. Good morning, ma'am. Will you please state your name for the record and make sure you move up to that microphone because it's hard to hear sometimes.
Lisa Gathright,
You spell your name for our court reporter.
Lisagathrigt.
Thank you. And Ms. Gathright, what is your relationship to Sean Gathright?
He's my grandson.
So is his father your son?
Yes, he is.
And can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with Sean? Obviously, you're his grandmother, but are you close with Sean? Have you been his whole life?
I've been very close to Sean ever since he was born.
Have you been involved in his life since he was young?
Yes,
Tell
his
us-
parents were both in the military and they were deployed, and there were times when both of the kids stayed with me for extended periods of time. He went to school in the town where I live, and
Where do you live?
I live in Oxford, Mississippi.
And did you live there when he was growing up as well? You've been there?
Yes,
Okay. So he would come and stay with you, live with you and go to school?
yes, ma'am.
And can you tell us a little bit about Sean as a child? What was he like? What was his character like? How did he behave?
He was a fun kid. He has a great sense of humor, a wonderful personality. He's just all around good kid.
Did he get in trouble?
No. He was very well liked by everyone around us. The neighbors all liked him.
How long do you think, or I know probably different time frames with the parents being deployed, but how, give us kind of an idea of how long he would be living with you, or?
Well, there had been times where they were there for a whole school term, and then for the last, like when he was in high school, he was with me for about a year and a half.
Okay. Would you spend holidays or birthdays, things like that together when he wasn't living with you?
Yes, we did a lot of traveling together on the holidays, and I was always there with him whenever I could be.
And we heard yesterday about Sean traveling overseas with some programs that he was involved in. What do you know about that?
The first time that he went, I went with him, and we went to Ireland and Scotland, and it was a wonderful, very educational trip.
Did Sean like to travel?
He loves to travel.
And how was he in school?
Very good. He made good grades. He was not any kind of a problem student or anything.
What kind of interest did he have, if you can remember? Was he into sports or music or?
He was he liked photography. He was very into photography, and he started a couple of his own little businesses. He was detailing cars and pressure washing people's houses, and he brought his equipment with money that he had saved from jobs that he had worked.
With his parents being deployed and having to live with you and go to school and then he would leave, how did he adjust to that? Were there any issues with it?
He adjusted very well. I think he felt like my home, well, he knew it was his home, and he felt very comfortable, and at ease there.
And what about your son as his father, as Sean's father? What was his relationship with him like?
Volatile,
What do you mean by that?
physically and verbally abusive.
At what ages?
Early teens, well, probably before that.
What would he do? What do you mean by volatile? Like, what would happen?
Well, one time Sean was out in California with his dad, and his dad called me, and he was in a panic, and he said, Sean has run away. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said he went in the bedroom, and he was gone. He had opened the window, and it was a first-floor apartment, and he got out, and he went to the park with his suitcase. And I called Sean, and I said, you know, what's going on? And he told me that they had had a fight and that my son had physically abused him. And I talked to him, and I tried to calm him down, and I convinced him to go back to the apartment and stay there. And then we made arrangements not long after that for him to leave from California and come back to Mississippi or Florida. I can't remember which one.
And why did you have him go back if his father was physically abusive?
Well, he was, I'm in Mississippi, he's in California. My son was remorseful. He's always remorseful at the time, but the behavior still continued. And I just felt like at the time that was the only thing I could do myself, is to get him to go back.
You didn't have anywhere else to go in California?
Yeah.
And was that the only time that anything happened, or did that seem to be kind of the basis of the
No,
relationship?
we were out in California visiting one time, and my son has another younger son, and we were at the pool, and his little brother kept splashing water on him, and Sean kept telling him to stop splashing, and even his mom told him to stop splashing. Well, he continued, and so Sean splashed water back at him, and my son saw that, and he went into a rage, and just ruined the whole time together. One time we were out there, and he physically abused his daughter. He slapped her.
Is Sean's sister Nevaeh his
Yes,
daughter as well?
yes.
Okay. Do you still have a relationship with Sean's father
No.
for those reasons?
Yes.
Do you think that had an impact on Sean, or did he have other male role models in his life?
My late husband was a wonderful role model for Sean, and Sean loved his papa. And there was a lot of men in the church community that took Sean under their wings and tried to mentor to him. My neighbors, one of my neighbors, they all love Sean.
I'm going to, Your Honor, if I can approach the witness with Defense 1, A through Q.
Okay.
Shown the state, I don't believe they have any objection to the photos. Just going to show you these, that we have, it's a composite, 1A through Q, and just tell me without details, just do you recognize these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm just going to ask you a few questions about this. Your Honor, at this time I would ask to move these into evidence and be able to display them for the jury.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted.
Now, I'm just going to go through some of these photos, and if you can just tell us what you remember about them. I'm showing you. Oh, see? Nothing. Thank you. This is 1A.
That was when we were in London.
And who's in this photo?
That's Mr. Edwards, Sean's guidance counselor, and his sister Nevaeh.
Okay. And that was in London, and you were on that trip?
Excuse me?
It was in London, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And what about this one? Do you remember where that one was?
I wasn't on that trip, but that was when he went to South Africa.
With Mr. Edwards again?
Yes.
I think this might have been around the same time.
That looks like the same trip.
South Africa?
Yes,
And,
that would be the same trip.
okay. Sorry, these are all a little bit different. Is that Sean there?
Yes, that's Sean.
How old do you think he was in that picture?
Probably maybe 16 or 17.
That was 1E, sorry, I lost track.
That looks like that was in Scotland.
Did you go on that trip with Sean?
Yes,
And that's Mr. Edwards again?
yes,
Okay. How old was Sean there approximately?
probably 15.
And that was one of those trips through the program with his school?
Yes. That looks like the Africa trip.
Because they were involved with some humanitarian work there, is that?
Yes.
Okay. And how old did you say you think Sean was?
I think he was 16 or 17. Same there.
Mr. Edwards again? Where is this one?
That's in Ireland.
And is that Sean here?
Yes.
And then, I don't know, do you know the other people, or that was just a
I don't
photo
know
in the
any of those
background?
other
Okay.
ones.
Were you on that trip with him as well?
Yes.
How old do you think Sean was there?
I think 15.
And that was 1J. Let's see. That might have been South Africa again.
I believe so.
They took a lot of photos without you, huh? What about that one?
That was on a cruise that he and Mr. Edwards took.
Where did they go on that cruise?
Down to the Caribbean. I'm
How
not
old-
exactly sure what islands they went to.
And how old do you think Sean was here?
Probably around 14.
And then this is a little bit blurry, but it's pretty in the background. Were you on this trip?
Yes.
Okay, I'll ask you where you went, although it's
That was
probably
Paris.
obvious. Paris?
Yes.
And how old was Sean when you went to Paris?
I think around 16 or 17.
So a lot of these trips were kind of in the same, I know he was only certain grades at that school, right?
Right. Mhm.
So a lot of the trips were close together in time?
Yes, I think they traveled once a year to different places.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness again?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm approaching with defense 3A through C. I'm going to show you these pictures. Do you recognize these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I'd ask to admit defense 3A through C and publish for the jury.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted.
Okay. And Ms. Gathright, who's in this photo?
Sean and I.
Okay, looks like maybe holiday time?
Yeah.
Tell me about why
That
this-
was around Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving.
Okay. And you kind of giggled when I showed you that. Was this a
Because
special
of my,
picture for you?
I'm not a very photogenic person. I don't like my pictures.
But you look like you're having fun.
Oh, he makes me smile.
How old do you think Sean was there?
He was probably 16 or 17.
And I'm going to show you 3B. Who's in this photo?
That was Nevaeh and Sean and their dog. He loved those dogs. He used to put clothes on them, their stepdad's clothes.
And how old do you think Sean and Nevaeh were there?
He was probably 11, 10 or 11.
Looks like there's another little dog over here. Maybe?
Yeah.
Is that your dog?
No, I had a German Shepherd.
Okay, they were all theirs. Okay. And then this last one you provided to us, we've heard a lot about Sean and his businesses. What is this?
That was when he would do detailing of cars.
And was this like a little flyer that he would?
Yes, he made
pass
up
out?
all of his advertisements.
What would you say Sean had a good work ethic?
He had a very good work ethic. At one time, we live about 2 miles from the country club, and Sean was working there, and he would sometimes ride his skateboard. He would take the back roads and ride his skateboard to work, and it was hills and up and down. It was not an easy task.
Ms. Gathright, I know your grandson, it seems like you had a pretty good relationship with him, and you said he makes you smile. What do you want the jury to know about him and his character?
He's just a very fun-loving person. He loves food. He loves to eat. We were on a trip out in Texas one time, and we were in Grapevine, Texas, and I was in a shop, and we were getting ready to leave, and the clerk asked if we had any more questions, if we needed to know anything else, and he said, yes, where's a good place to eat? And that was the kind of things that he would talk about. And one year, it was New Year's Eve, and I have a pool, and every year we have this little contest, and it's to see who was going to be the first one in the pool for the season, and then who's going to be the one that stays in the longest. So it was about 2 minutes before midnight, and Sean jumped in the pool in December in Oxford, and it was cold. And so he got out, and then about a minute after midnight, he jumped in. So his record stands. It can't be broken.
He's the last one in and the first one in?
Right.
Okay. Your Honor, may I have a moment?
Yes.
I will pass the witness.
Okay.
Ms. Gathright, it sounds like you had a loving, wonderful relationship with your grandson. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that you have talked about your son and his relationship with Sean was not a good one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Fair characterization? That's a fair statement? That they
Yes,
did not
yes.
have a good relationship?
Right.
Sean didn't live with his father, though. Is that correct?
Just for maybe a month or so at a time.
It was visits and at most a couple of months. Is that correct?
Yes.
And because of the nature of the relationship, Sean would not stay with him. Is that correct?
That's
It
correct.
sounds like you and your husband provided that alternate home whenever his mother would be off overseas.
Yes,
And you and your husband, your late husband, were very supportive and loving to him during that time. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
And you have told us that there were members in your church that were also there to provide him with support and mentorship.
That's correct.
You felt that was important that he have that support. Isn't that true?
Yes,
Okay. You also gave him the gift of travel, the love of travel. Is that correct?
yes,
You went on many trips with him,
yes,
not just to the photos that we saw there, Scotland and Ireland. Isn't that true?
that's true.
There were other trips as well as in the United States. You
Yes.
traveled a lot with him.
Yes,
He also had a loving, supportive relationship with his sister. Is
yes.
that correct?
Yes,
And from the time that he did have a relationship with his stepfather, Brian Harrington, that was also a very positive, loving, respectful relationship.
yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Here you are.
I don't have any answer.
May this witness be excused? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're free to go.
Thank you.
And I think you're a little more photogenic than you give yourself credit for.